I'd like to welcome someone to the show now who's from the wonderfully named little town of Hell in Michigan, and that is a blues guitarist who I'm a huge, huge fan of, and that is Mr. Michael Katon. Welcome to Rock Posers Roulette.
Hey, man. Glad to be there. Out of hell for a minute, at least figuratively speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. I was more than happy to see you play a few weeks ago up at the Beaverwood Club. I said to you after I waited, I don't know what it must be, about 20, 25 years since the last time I saw you. And
wow.
Yeah, I saw you at play the Marquee Club. It must have been, I don't know, 88, 89. My memory's not that great.
Oh, wow. I played there a couple times, man. I can't remember the last time I played there.
This was the one on Charing Cross Road, not the original one on Wardour Street. So,
right.
But I thought what was cool was the crowd. The first time I saw you, it was such a mixture of people. There were sort of hard rock fans, sort of jazz fans, blues fans, and everything in between.
Well, that's fine with me. Hey, man, what band was it? Was it 4-piece or 3-piece?
It was definitely a 4-piece, from what I remember. Yeah.
I think that's the first time I ever played in England, man.
Was it really? Wow.
Maybe it might have been the second time, but definitely it was right in there. No, you know what? That's not true. The very first time I played, no, that is true. My memory's starting to go, man. But no, with the 4-piece bands, the first time I ever played in England, it might have been the second day, but it was definitely one of the first 3 gigs I ever had in England, man.
I mean, I heard of you because there was a write-up in Kerrang magazine, which was much more of a hard rock magazine back then.
Right.
And I believe it was a guy called Dave Ling who wrote the review. I could be wrong. Again, my memory's not brilliant.
I just saw Dave Ling at the Beaverwood. He was at the Beaverwood.
That's
man.
right. He was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And I thought this sounds interesting. And you know, I'm ashamed it waited so long to see you again because for those people who aren't familiar with your music, I mean, I would say when it comes to blues, it's my type of blues. It's shall we say, the darker, dirtier end of the spectrum.
Yeah, well, you know, I like to take, like, you know, the hard stuff I grew up with, which I like the harder blues, man. Like, as far as more modernistic type of blues players, I mean, I'm talking Freddie King, you know, Albert King. All those guys were playing loud. I don't know if you ever had a chance to see any of those guys live, but, I mean, they played as loud as I play or louder. And people don't realize that, but, you know, but they had good tone, you know, so it didn't hurt, which hopefully I try to go for. I really have worked on my tone since I was 13 years old, man. It was always real important to me. But those guys, as even B.B. King, man, I saw him several times when I was a kid. I met him and stuff. I met Freddie King and these guys. And, you know, Freddie King told me that to back down the treble, you know, with the treble knobs on the guitar.
Yeah.
And B.B. King, you know, I didn't get to do much more than kind of meet B.B. King and say hello and that I admired him and this kind of stuff, you know. But Freddie King, man, I got to talk to him, and he told me back down the treble, which is basically when I read later interviews with Clapton, you know, that's what he was doing, and that's what we did when we were kids. Even when we were playing Gibsons that had a treble control, like on the bridge pickup and the neck pickup, and I did have a Fender Telecaster that had a tone control on the bridge pickup. The Stratocasters never had tone control, so they were wide open treble until we learned how to put a little jumper wire across the bridge pickup and the second pickup, and so you'd have a tone control for the bridge pickup to make it sound more like a Gibson, you know. for playing slide and stuff, so it wasn't so shrill.
Right.
Sometimes you want that hard sound like Muddy Waters. He was using a Telecaster with a bridge pickup, full treble, full volume through like a super reverb turned all the way up, And those harder guys is who I liked. Muddy Waters, the real electric stuff. Howlin' Wolf, man, I met him as well. I met all those guys. Muddy Waters, I sat and drank with him one time. Had the pleasure of getting back in the dressing room and sitting on a couch right next to him, man, and talking to him. And he said to me, "Hey, man,"
that must have been some experience.
Well, it kind of was, and I wish, back in those days, you didn't carry cameras around with you and stuff, and they pretty much didn't even have like throwaway cameras that you could put in your pocket,
Right.
So. And we never had cameras or anything, but I would have loved to have a picture of that because I got sat next to him there, and he goes, "Hey, man, you want a drink?" And I said, "Sure." And he goes, "Go over yonder and fetch that bottle." And there was a champagne bottle sitting in a bucket of ice across the room, so I went and got it, and he poured me and him some champagne in some paper cups, man. I got to sit there for about 30 minutes, man, talking to him. And Pine Top Perkins was there, and Willie Big Eyes Smith was a drummer, and that I forgot his first name. I think his last name was Calamese or something. Was a bass player. And that was great, man. I just wish I would have had a picture. There is a picture that exists of me and Howlin' Wolf, man. When I met him, I was about, let me see here, man. Oh, God, it would have been about 1972, maybe. 71, 72, 73, I don't know, somewhere around in there.
Right.
I got to meet him, and somebody snapped a picture of me, man. And I've been trying to track that picture down. I knew where it was. My buddy was in possession of it, the guy that took it. And one of the first guys I was in a band, well, my very first band. But he has since died, and died of cancer some years back. And I went to visit him about a month before he died. And we just got talking. He said, "Hey, man, when I die, tell my wife to give you that guitar downstairs and this, that, and the other." And I said, "Hey, Billy, man, there's a picture I want. Any pictures that you can spare or your wife wants to get rid of when we were kids, playing." I said, "But there's one picture of me and Howlin' Wolf that you had." And he goes, "Oh, yeah." He says, "Yeah, after I die, tell my wife to let you go through all that stuff, But I never called her back. I contacted her, and this is like 10 years ago, and I contacted her around, I guess it was around last Christmas, and she said her daughter would have had all that stuff, and I never contacted her. I just didn't feel like bugging them about that kind of stuff,
right.
Bring up. But,
people forget that musicians are also fans of other musicians. Hearing you talk then is the same as me when I meet up with musicians I'm a fan of, and it's just hanging out and listening to the stories and how they set up and stuff. It is just a wonderful experience.
Yeah, man. I'm a huge fan of people like Freddie King and Albert King and all them. They're dead now, but Otis Rush I'm a huge fan of. And, I went out of my way always to go see him. I saw him when I was a kid when he was still playing a Stratocaster, man. I don't know exactly how old I was, but he was playing like in a, kind of like more like a blues concert, at a university here
right.
or something. And I got to go. That's how I could get in. But then when we were a little older, back when I was a kid, you could get into bars and stuff, when you were 18, or if you knew the doorman. We knew all the doormen. We knew the doormen because we played in these places. So even when we were underage, we could get into these joints and see these guys,
Wow.
And so I got to see all of them, man. Like, God, Otis Rush, B.B. King, Albert King, Freddie King, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, let's see. Buddy Guy, Albert Collins. I got to drink one time with Albert Collins, man. I was sitting on his bus. This is kind of recent past, probably 19, early 80s, man. Something like that. Anyway, somewhere I got a picture of that I should post on my website and stuff. But
well, speaking of your website, etc., I mean, you are an artist who is totally in touch with the internet. I mean, through, obviously, now your sales are digital.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I've been watching your video updates that you've done for years.
Uh-huh.
For those people who've not seen them, you do, your little studio reports of what you're up to, and it's just keep in touch with the fans, which I think is absolutely great.
You know, it's kind of weird. I was just going to do one of those today until you got in touch with me, man.
I've got it your way.
Do it today. I might still do it today, but it's getting a little late for most of my fans are over there in the UK and Europe. And what I got is I did it about a year ago, I think. I have a Ustream little television station thing where I can broadcast live, you know.
All right.
And I was going to use it when I was on my last tour. I was going to broadcast some shows and stuff. Obviously, it's not that great of a quality coming from an iPhone, but interesting, you know, or broadcast from dressing rooms or from out on the highway, you know. But my app, somehow my phone, I'd cleared my phone out because it was full. I mean, I got a 64 gig phone, and it was 59 something filled with pictures and videos and stuff. And so I'm in the process of cleaning it out. I was getting rid of a few apps, and I mistakenly got rid of my Ustream app, and then I forgot my password and stuff. And so I couldn't do it. I couldn't get on my site myself because I forgot all my password and stuff.
Oh, no.
I couldn't recall my username I was using or which email I used. I got about 5 different emails. And
you and me both.
Yeah, so I couldn't broadcast. But when I got back home, I looked it all up, and just now got my Ustream back. So I was going to do a live broadcast today. And I was thinking, I got a little time here coming up. I don't play much around home here. And I was going to, maybe, I've been toying with the idea of having like kind of a weekly little show, you know, from my studio, just to kind of a chat, because people can chat in. You know, they'll see me live, you know, talking or playing or whatever I do, but they can chat in to where I can see their text, you know, and ask me questions or chat back and forth with each other and me. You know, it's kind of fun, man. I did it one time before, and I ended up with, I think about 60 people watching it at one time.
Well, you've got to give me the link when you do it, and I'll make sure that I post it around on the website, etc. Because I know certainly one of the other shows that's on Firebrand, TC, one of the presenters who does one of the shows that is a blues show. I know certainly his listeners would be very interested in that.
Oh, cool, man. Let me see here. I'm going to try and find a link right now for it. Actually, there's a thing on the, I'll probably broadcast it from my iPhone because I don't know, my eyes aren't good enough anymore to see, people chatting in on the iPhone screen.
Right.
So I'll have to have a laptop beside me or something so I can see what people are saying. So, but I know when I start broadcasting on the iPhone, all I got to do is, touch the screen and send it. There'll be a link that goes right to Facebook or Twitter or whatever. It'll say, hey, man, I'm broadcasting right now, and the link will be there, and you just click on that, and it'll go to the broadcast,
That's great.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I love this technology stuff, man. I saw you right into my Facebook there when I put the post about Spotify and
stuff. Well, that's one of the things I was going to bring up, because the link that you put on there, I say again, for those of you who didn't see Michael's post regarding most of us in the UK apparently are too tight to pay £10 to have unlimited streaming on Spotify. And I
didn't say that.
and I posted that I don't go on Spotify because of the royalty payments. So there seemed to be quite a discrepancy as to how much they actually pay and to who.
Yeah, did you see on one of my friends' in the States here wrote in an article about the cat from
Yeah,
Radiohead.
that's one of the articles. I think that was mainly doing the rounds last week. I saw that posted quite a few times. He's having a little bit of a rant about Spotify.
Yeah, and basically, I put the answer to that up later in that post of mine.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
there's a couple links there about that and how they pay and stuff. And like I said, I got I think I got about maybe 9 of my albums up on Spotify and other ones too, like Deezer out of France. My stuff. I make money off of Deezer.
Okay.
Because I get direct reports. My money that I make is wired directly into my bank account and a website that I have, direct payments from. I can see exactly how many I sold, how many streams I had of everything. Everything from iTunes to Amazon.com to, all the different streaming radio stuff like eMusic, Rhapsody, 50 different ones, But the main ones are like iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Deezer, different 365 type radio stations and all that stuff. And I make money, man. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not getting rich or anything, but it's actually more. I make more money in a month if I figured it out than I can make going around here playing a few gigs, man, in a month. When I figure out like my gas prices and 10 hours spent going out doing a gig, people don't realize we go to do a gig, man. It's like, you got to start getting ready. Let's just say, 5 in the afternoon, gathering up your stuff, packing up some stuff, getting ready. And then you may have to drive an hour or 2 hours to a gig, do the gig, and most gigs you get done doing like at 2 in the morning, and by the time you get back home, it's 4 in the morning, or 5 sometimes. That's 10, 12 hours you've spent.
Absolutely. And of course, the other argument that's going around about is the fact that a lot of venues and clubs just won't pay the money that the artists deserve. Well,
sometimes too, it's not all the club's fault and everything too. Sometimes it's the artist just playing shit fucking music that nobody wants to hear. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's our fault sometimes as well.
And of course, times are tough at the moment. There isn't a lot of money out there.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. In Detroit, man.
Oh, I saw the reports. There was a report on the BBC on Friday or Saturday about the fact it's gone bankrupt, and it's like that's scary stuff.
Well, what it is, man, is like our whole state, Michigan, and surrounding states too, man, like Ohio and Indiana, Illinois. They're all, based on these car companies that basically went out of business, and all the bars. Like when I'd go out and play in nightclubs and stuff around here, it was full of nothing but factory workers. Guys that get off at midnight, and
just go for a drink and kick back and what have you.
Yeah, they come to the clubs, man, and almost, everybody worked somewhere that had something to do with the car companies, offshoots of the car companies. And I was listening to a radio station just now while I was exercising here, and they were talking about Detroit, man, and something like, I can't remember how many years ago, but there was 296,000 manufacturing jobs. I don't know if that was Michigan or Detroit, maybe Detroit. And today there's 27,000. So I think that was Detroit they were talking about. Either way, it's bad. But people ask me, "Hey man, how come you don't play around home very much?" Well, because, man, all the clubs, you know, have kind of closed up, or the ones that are still open, they want you to come down there and play for the door, and expect you to do all your own advertising, you know.
Yeah.
And play with 3 other bands, you know, usually some kids and stuff, which I don't have anything against, but they just pay them with, you know, some free beer and whatnot, and tell the kids to bring all their friends. And you know, it's not like the most professional type scene like it used to be. I mean, I used to be able to go into a club around here, maybe get 5 nights in a row, get paid good money, real good money, and a few hotel rooms. Hell, all the whiskey and Jack Daniels and beer we could drink, and then some. If we came in the afternoon, man, we could drink all day until we played if we felt like it, you know. And it's just not like that anymore, man. You know.
No, I mean it's the same over here. You know, there's a lot of venues have shut down. A lot of the well-known venues have shut down. And it seemed to be hit and miss when I speak to artists and bands about how well they're doing regarding tours or venues. But yeah, it's tough over here at the moment, money-wise. I mean, people just don't have the money for gigs and what have you. I mean, thank heavens for places like the Beaverwood, obviously, where I saw you the other week.
Yeah, well, you know, Pete Feenstra does a good job, man. And
hell, doesn't he just?
Yeah, he's really into it, man. You know, and the other cat, man, you know Phil Guy Davis, don't you?
I think I've met him maybe once or twice. Yeah.
He's like the oldest promoter in England or something. But he's a cool cat, and he's really into it and behind it, man. You know.
Well, I try to get. Sorry, go on, Michael.
We played a gig for him up in Oxford, man. The famous blues night in Oxford at the Jericho Tavern, man. And he was there. He had just gotten out of the hospital, and, you know, he's got heart trouble or something that day. You know, he's in the hospital and came out to do this gig, and I got talking to him, man. The cat is like 77 years old, man. And, you know, he's up there promoting. He's at the door greeting everybody, man. He's at the front of the stage dancing and taking pictures, you know. And, you know, he's like Pete, man. He's like behind it, man. You know?
Oh, I mean, Pete is absolutely passionate about it. I mean, I try and get up to the Beaverwood probably, I try and get up at least sort of 4 or 5 times a year if I can. Just
and the Boom Boom Club is cool too, man.
Yeah, it's a bit further over for me to get to. I mean, the Beaverwood takes me sort of 20 minutes to get to, so it's ideal. Oh. It's straight up the motorway for me, and that's a done deal. And it's good. I mean, it's good that he supports a lot of the younger artists coming through. Now, I mean, you've got people like Virgil and Accelerators. Ollie Brown's come through that way. Danny Bryant, I saw him up there a couple of weeks before I was up seeing you. And it's great that these young guitarists are you know, still keeping this music going and pushing it sometimes in a slightly different direction.
Yeah, I was just hanging out with Joanne Shaw Taylor the other day, last week, man. My tour
She's another
manager,
incredibly talented artist.
Yeah, do you know my tour manager, Tanya? Did you meet her? She was like selling the merch and stuff.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
black-haired gal. Yeah, she came over here, but Joanne was on a tour, and she was with Joanne right before she came on tour with me, and then she was coming to the States. She came to the States. She's actually been staying at my house and stuff, and she went out on the road with Joanne Shaw Taylor to continue this blues caravan thing she was doing, and Bart Walker.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Bart Walker and one or two others. But yeah, I was just hanging out with her, and you know, she was telling me about England and stuff. We share the same booking agent in England and stuff. And but yeah, I got talking with her, and she lives in Detroit now, believe it or not. She moved to Detroit about 3 years ago, I think. But I was at the Kalamazoo Blues Festival. I went with Tanya, and actually drove Tanya there, and we picked Joanne up at the hotel and took her over to the festival site and stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, there are some gigs here in the States, and if you've been on the circuit for a while, but my problem is I haven't been on the circuit in the States much. I've done most of my stuff in the UK and Europe.
I was going to say, because Holland's is a huge sort of blues friendly country. They absolutely adore the blues there.
Yeah, Belgium as well. And most everywhere I go, they kind of like what I do. I'm not really what you'd call pure blues, you know what I mean? I'm just blues influenced. I'm taking the licks like of some of my heroes, like I said, Freddie King, Otis Rush, or whatever, and jacking them up, putting them through a Marshall amp is all I'm doing, man.
Well, I mean, you're on stage. You have what I call a very cool personality. Throwing a few F-bombs out there, and you're relaxed and you're enjoying yourself, and that follows through into the audience, because if they see you enjoying yourself and having a good time, then it just flows through.
Well, I'll tell you the truth, man. I'm no different on stage than I am around the house here, man. My wife might tell you different, but yeah, man. I mean, that's what it's all about. It isn't any big deal, man. We just like to get some kicks, man. That's the whole point, The whole point why I started playing, man, is just, it's fun, man,
Have you got any plans at the moment for bringing another album out soon?
Oh, man, I got, I do have an album all recorded. I just started mixing it, man. My ears were kind of blown out from the tour. I actually was going to have it finished. I was going to have it finished. Let me see. Well, before my tour, here's what happened, man. The last few years, I was taking care of my elderly dad, who had some real bad medical, physical problems getting around. So I didn't play. This is the first time I've toured since 2009, man.
Right.
Or even played a gig, man. What happened was my dad, he couldn't take care of himself. So, I mean, that's basically why I'm lifting weights right now, because I started lifting weights a few years ago when my dad got bad. I had to, be over in the morning to get him out of bed, get him dressed, put him in his wheelchair, pick him up, do stuff like,
I mean, that's
anything that he had to move.
Yeah, and to move someone around, that's a real physical thing that you have to do.
Yeah. So anyway, I had to do that for nearly 3 years. And I couldn't even play a gig. There's a pub down here I could play at, or what you call a pub, just a bar, like a honky-tonk down at the end of a mile down at the end of my road. And it's in between my folks' house and my house. And my friends would be playing in there, and I'd be driving past. Like, I had to be over at my dad's, like, basically from 7 in the morning till midnight, like every day for a few years.
Wow.
24 hours a day on call. And I couldn't even go down to the local pub and do a gig, man. But so that happened, and then I finally got my tour management people out of Germany, Double K, to put me a tour together, which I did. And the night before I was coming on, that tour was supposed to start in the first week in November of 2012, 6 months and 9 months ago, however long it's been. And the night before I was getting on the plane, my wife called me. She had been having headaches for a few days only. And she called me and said, "Man, my headache's so bad, you got to come get me." She was out shopping. So I went and picked her up, and she was kind of getting delirious and sick and stuff, So I said, "Well, we better take you to the emergency room." So we took her to the hospital, and they did a CAT scan, and they discovered a brain tumor the size of your fist in her.
Oh, hell.
In her skull. So I had to call everybody from the hospital and cancel that whole tour, because they had to operate on her and take this tumor out, right? So then that whole tour got canceled, my kind of so-called comeback tour, you know. So that got canceled, and I made up for it just with this last tour in May and June here over in Europe and the UK. So that's kind of been my story. So I got kind of really out of circulation there for a while.
But that's understandable. I mean, you know, it's not like exactly a feeble excuse. These things take priority, you know.
Well, luckily my studio is in my house, so I could actually record during that period, and I did come out with 3 singles. One was Kickin' the Nuts. One was Cowboy Boots from China, and the other was called Gas Money. And then I made a all-original album called Hard On, The Boogie.
Yeah, I bought that after the gig, actually. That's one out. I actually bought 2 of your albums after the 2 I didn't have, which was that and the Bluetooth.
Did you buy the stickers?
I did.
How'd those work, man?
I'll tell you what, that's a really cool way of doing it.
Yeah?
Yeah, and what I like as well, and what I really must congratulate you on, because it's a pet peeve of mine, is the fact that you can actually download at a decent quality. None of this 128 kilobyte shit that some people punt out. But
can't you get like 256 or something?
There was an option to download as FLAC, which is
really?
which like lossless, and that was like, oh wow, we're having some of that. So I grabbed those.
Those are basically almost like WAV files, aren't they?
Yeah, not far off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So the sound quality was just superb. But no, I thought that was a really cool way of selling. What it is, folks, for those of you who know, it's basically it's a sticker that is the album cover, and on the back there is a code for you to go to the website, put the code in, and then you download the album in your choice of bitrate or what have you. Which I think it's a different way of doing it, and I really like it.
Well, the sticker's cool because it's the size of a CD cover, so I can sign them for people and stuff that they like, and then they can stick it on their refrigerator, man.
Well, I've got them on the wall in my studio, actually.
Cool, man. Did I sign them for you?
No, you didn't. So next time I will grab you and twist your arm and get you to sign some stuff. The next time I see you.
Hey, man, to tell you the truth, so that's actually 2 albums I've put out in the last 3 years. Actually, both those albums came out in 2012. And so I was busy doing that. You know, I could manage to eke out a couple albums there. So, but I did notice when I was in Europe and England this time, like I'm big on technology and moving forward. I mean, I couldn't even tell you, you know, what happened last week, man. I'm looking forward, man. I don't dwell in the past. I don't think about my age, which is pretty fucking old. And, but my spirit's still 17, man. And
I think that's everybody, yeah.
Yeah. But I can keep up pretty good, man. I pretty much kept up better than all the younger people. My rhythm section this time, their combined ages is still younger than me, man.
I was going to say, because you had quite a young rhythm section with you on this tour.
Yeah, I'm not sure how old the drummer is. He's like, you know, early 30s.
And your bass player, she looked about 17, so.
Yes, I think she's 23, man.
Really,
she's younger than my youngest daughter, man. And yeah, but they were cool, but their combined ages are younger than me, man. So.
Yeah, but you were still the coolest man in the club.
Well, thank you, man.
Listen, Michael, I've taken up way too much of your time. I'll tell you, I'm notoriously well known for gassing on for hours and hours.
Hey, me too, man. If you want to keep going.
What I'll do is, when you get your new album done and dusted, give me a holler, and I'll get you back on the show, and we can shoot the breeze some more.
Hey, man. You know, one thing I wanted to say is that
go ahead.
When I was in Europe and in the UK this time, people, you know, they would come up and I'd say, what do you have new, you know? And I'd say, well, I got these stickers, you know. Oh, I want CDs. I want CDs. And, you know, I understand that and everything, but I'm trying to move forward. And let's face it, man, a few years there won't be any CDs, you know. I mean, they're almost gone now. And usually, I mean, there's no shops left basically to speak of, and we sell CDs at gigs and stuff. But my last 2 albums, I didn't have any CDs. But funnily enough, is that a word? Funnily?
Yeah.
funny enough, I guess they say. Funny enough. Funny enough, a fella record label was at my last gig in London and offered to put out some CDs on me. And so we're working on some contracts right now for that, you know. And I don't know what they're going to put out. They might, you know, they might put out these last 2 I did. They might make a best of or something. I'm not sure what they want to do. But there will be, probably by the next time I come on tour there, which there's been some talk about me getting there around towards the end of January and into February. So it'll coincide actually with this kind of a deal to make CDs. But and the album I'm working on is basically, it's a tribute album to a pretty famous guitar player from the UK. Well, from Ireland. You can figure it out from there.
I can pretty much figure it out, and I think everyone who's listening can pretty much figure it out.
But anyway, I got a real good tribute album going here. I'm just starting to mix it now. Like I said, my ears were blown out from the tour. I don't use earplugs or any of that shit. You know, I can't tell what you're doing, and I've been doing gigs for 47 years now, so you know, I kind of have to play loud, and it's like a vicious circle. I lose more hearing every tour, man. So I just now, my ears have settled down a little bit. I did go down to some jam sessions, which was a stupid thing to do a couple weeks ago, and it tweaked off my ears a little bit. But the last couple days, I've started to work mixing on this thing. I was supposed to have it finished and released by the time I came on the last tour, but I just ran out of time. So, and I didn't want to rush it, but this thing is really sounding good, man. I think people are really going to dig it.
Excellent.
And I'm going to try to get this record label to release that first, man.
Oh, that'd be cool. I'll definitely be up to see you again. The mate that I brought with me, who wasn't familiar with your material, and I said, look, you know, that you've got to come up and see this guy. Trust me on this. You would love this gig. And he was absolutely blown away.
Ah, cool, man.
He said that was his gig of the year. I mean, he absolutely loved it. He said, no, you were right. I said, yeah, I know I was right. I said,
you know what, man? I mean, it's all folks like you, man, that keep me going. I mean, we don't make a lot of money. If we can make enough money to keep going and try to do another record or single or whatever, any kind of music, and get it to you and then come boogie for you live, you know, that's all we're shooting for. I mean, we're not trying to change the world.
And music's is one of the things that keeps me going. It's hell, if I didn't have music in my life, I think I hate to think what state I would be in. You know, it's
man. It's just kind of like
I can't imagine a world without music. That would be hell.
Yeah, it would be. But anyway, I just want to say, you know, we really appreciate everybody that comes out and checks us out and boogies with us, man. And we are having a good time, man. And if the audience picks up on that, man, it feeds back to us. And that's the whole goal, man, is to get some kicks. Try to play as good as we can, man. I always take it serious in a playing type way.
Sure.
I'm seriously trying to have a good fun. You know, good fun is what I'm trying to say. You know,
and it certainly shows.
Yeah,
well,
cool,
Michael,
man.
I say I will definitely want you back on the show when the album comes out. Sounding very, very exciting indeed, and look forward to meeting up with you when you're back in the UK next year.
Same here, man.
Do message me over a link to your video stream, etc. I say, and I will post that around because I know there's quite a few folks who probably aren't aware of it who will be most definitely wanting to see that.
All right. Hey, when we hang up here, so to speak, stay on the line.
Sure.
We'll figure all that out. Yeah.
Excellent, Michael. Thank you very much indeed.
All right, brother.
Cheers, man.
Adios.